The immense Himalayas are unforgiving. Stretching between earth and sky, this mountain range rises like an endless wall, with peaks over 8,000 meters high, forming the planet's tallest and youngest natural barrier. The thin, sharp air forces all who live here to breathe slowly, as if each inhalation must be rationed. The climate is relentlessly harsh. Cold pierces to the bone, the wind cuts the skin, and snow does not fall gently but crashes as solid masses driven by the gusts, piling on the slopes. The sun does not simply warm, it reflects harshly off the jagged gray rock. Yet life endures, even at these impossible heights. On narrow ledges, the ibex climbs with ancient grace, the rock almost acknowledging its passage. The Tibetan fox moves through snow and rock with utter stealth, its broad, flat face shaped by the wind and necessity. The red panda watches cautiously from the underbrush, its small ears and rounded face hinting at shelter, shade, and seclusion. The peregrine falcon rules the skies with deadly precision, its razor wings slicing air and prey alike, attacks orchestrated to bring down larger animals by disabling their escape. Beyond the forests, the golden toucan moves slowly, covered in thick fur that glows like copper in the plateau's white light. These creatures are minimal presences in an immense world, shaped by altitude, silence, and scarcity. Their very faces narrating survival. These heights, everything else fades: sound, vegetation, warmth, but life hides among shadows and cliffs there. The snow leopard hunts, unseen and unheard. Its approach is a whisper. It neither roars nor rushes violently. Unlike other species that merely survive, it adapts so flawlessly that it seems made for these mountains. It moves with silent precision along narrow ledges, skirting abysses without disturbing the landscape. Its prey rarely senses it before the final leap. Active at dawn or dusk, it hunts in secret, pursuing ibex, argali, and smaller mammals. Success that is never guaranteed. Hunting here demands strength, stealth, and relentless endurance, traversing miles of cliffs and valleys for scarce prey. Hunger accompanies every step, squeezing the body even as the surroundings remain still. A snow leopard needs 3 to 5 kilograms of meat per day, often hunting large prey only every week or two, enduring days without food because abundance does not exist in this ecosystem. Every part of its body is optimized for energy and precision. Thick fur on its paws acts as snowshoes, and pads are insulated against ice. Most striking are its eyes, slightly round, pale irises, forward-facing for magnified binocular vision designed to detect subtle movements across a static white expanse. Rather than dazzle in sunlight, every feature of its body endures the impossible. Its long, dense, flexible tail balances motion and serves as a thermal tool, completing an anatomy perfected for the harsh peaks it calls home. On the slopes, its tail wraps around it when resting. On the snow, sometimes exceeding a meter in length and nearly covering the entire body, it serves both as a counterbalance during acrobatic leaps among boulders and as a shield. When resting, it often curls and hides its face beneath the tail, protecting the most exposed areas from the freezing air, a testament to its adaptation to the extreme cold of the Himalayas. This thermal adaptation extends to the entire body. Its winter fur, among the densest of any feline, can reach 5 centimeters in thickness and forms 2 layers, a dense undercoat that traps heat like an invisible blanket and a long, oily outer layer that repels moisture, preventing snow and icy winds from reaching the skin. This coat shields it from severe cold while providing perfect camouflage. Its light gray color with rounded, diffused spots blends seamlessly with shadows cast by snow and rock. Temperatures in its habitat can drop to -30 degrees Celsius, yet it remains active even in snowstorms. Its body is not merely is synchronized with the altitude. But the deeper question is not how it survives, but why it chose the Himalayas. Unlike other big cats thriving in warm plains or dense forests, the snow leopard moved into the inhospitable, originating from the highlands of the Tibetan Plateau over 1 million years ago, when lineages migrated from Central Asia during the Ice Age. Some settled in temperate zones, but this branch ventured deep into the mountains, not for comfort but to avoid competition. Here there are no tigers, lions, or hyenas, only space, small but seasonally abundant prey, and silence. This isolation cemented its uniqueness, while over time it lost the ability to thrive in warmer environments. Its metabolism, fur and prey choices are embedded in a network that exists only at extreme altitudes. It roams freely between 3,000 and 5,500 meters above sea level, adapted to low oxygen. It moves slowly, stops, observes. Its heart beats more slowly than other big cats, and its blood carries oxygen efficiently. It rarely descends into valleys or seeks other territories, for it needs none. Every step among crevices and cliffs signals permanence. This is where it evolved and perfected itself. Even here, it remains unseen, not from fear but strategy. Its camouflage, measured pace, and caution render it almost invisible, even to shepherds, who rarely spot it more than once a year. It avoids humans and other predators to protect its offspring, patient yet wary. Its combination of power and prudence has made it almost mythical. At the edge of the Himalayas, life moves slowly. Female snow leopards breed infrequently, timing each pregnancy carefully. Young are born in spring after the harshest winter, when prey becomes accessible. After a silent gestation of about 100 days, the female selects deep rock crevices where wind cannot reach. In total darkness, 1, 2, 3 blind, deaf cubs are born with woolly fur hinting at isolation. For weeks, the mother stays close, nursing, cleaning, and regulating the cub's temperature with her own body. The cubs are entirely on their own. There is no help, no protective male. Like most big cats, including its closest genetic relative, the tiger, the female raises her young alone. But unlike the tiger, which often leaves its cubs for hours to hunt, the snow leopard mother stays, close moving only when necessary. Her caution, a strategic trait in adulthood, becomes a profound sacrifice in motherhood. Not all felines behave this way. Lionesses breed in groups, female jaguars wander off like tigers, and panthers may abandon a litter if prey is scarce. The Himalayan female, however, remains with her young far longer than most, over 22 months, guiding them along trails, teaching them to stalk, and slowly leading them through ravines to capture real prey. Everything they learn comes silently, through observation and repetition, without words. This prolonged dedication is the result of evolutionary pressure favoring persistent mothers who transmit skills with clarity and consistency. In a harsh environment where prey is scarce, only cubs that learn patiently and precisely survive. Every lesson matters, from reading shadows and terrain to perfecting the art of stalking among snow and rocks. Without careful instruction, survival chances drop drastically. Even the structure of the snow leopard's face may reflect this maternal life. Unlike other felines with sharp, harsh features, its face shows a surprising softness, hinting at calm and patience that contrast its lethal hunting nature. The cubs remain near rocks, playing cautiously and exploring without straying far, while their mother allows them to advance but watches closely. Their training is gradual, learning to hunt, read the terrain, calculate distances, and understand that exposure can mean failure. Survival begins long before the leap, with the art of not being seen. By 1.5 years, most males become independent, though some remain longer until the mother enters heat again, requiring distance. There is no space for two adults on the same territory. The Himalayas are vast, but food is scarce, and each animal must travel tens of kilometers to feed. Offspring are few but do not need to be. Those surviving their first winter have a high chance of reaching adulthood, perpetuating the cycle. Silent, solitary, invisible, yet not all of the Himalayas is precipices and icy peaks. Some areas are dry, bare expanses where snow gives way to stone and yellow grasslands, without trees, shade, or cover, with horizons stretching endlessly. In this open, solitary world thrives the Tibetan fox, an animal that does not need to disappear because it merges with the landscape. It avoids valleys and peaks, favoring highlands, rugged plains, and rocky fields where relentless winds blow. An environment that seems prison-like to others is refuge for it. Less competition, fewer predators, more hunting space, and abundant small, elusive prey requiring silent, precise, patient hunting, a specialty of this species. Among its genus, the Tibetan fox is an anomaly, shorter than northern relatives, stockier than southern ones. The Tibetan fox has a compact body, short legs, and a dense coat that protects it from both the cold and the high-altitude sun. But the most striking feature is its face. It doesn't seem designed for charm. There is something disconcerting about its shape, as if its expression has frozen into a mixture of suspicion and emptiness. Almond-shaped eyes are set in a flat, almost geometric face. The muzzle is broad, and the cheekbones are prominent. There is no sweetness or mischief, just a constant, sideways, impenetrable gaze. That unusual appearance is not accidental. In an environment without trees, where there is no cover for ambushing, the Tibetan fox must see everything from below. Its wide face provides a broader field of vision. Its deep-set, side-facing eyes allow it to detect movement without turning its head, and its flattened snout enhances its frontal sense of smell, ideal for detecting fresh tracks on dry terrain. This is a face built for stalking. Unlike the playful red fox or the speedy desert fox, the Tibetan fox relies on methodical calculation rather than games or chase. Its most common prey is the pika, a small mammal with rounded ears that moves among rocks, gathers dry grass, and hides in underground burrows. Hunting it requires more than reflexes, it requires patience and strategy. The fox begins by identifying an active area, noting minimal traces like urine or chewed grass. Then it lies in wait, sometimes for minutes, sometimes for hours, observing, silently. Its fur, a mix of burnt yellow, gray, and ochre, blends perfectly with the dry grass and earth, making it indistinguishable from an old rock. When a pika appears, the fox remains still, ears barely twitching as it gathers information from every tiny movement. When the moment comes, it strikes sharply and precisely, biting the prey's neck without unnecessary effort. After the kill, the fox often carries it to a cleft between stones and eats leisurely, sometimes storing food in hidden burrows if the season allows. Intelligence is not just reflex, it is knowing when to save and when to expend energy. A pika provides only 100 to 150 calories, while a Tibetan fox requires roughly 600 a day in winter. Yet every calorie counts. Success or failure in the next hunt depends on it. No movement is wasted at these harsh heights. Improvisation can be fatal. While their diet can include small rodents, insects, and occasionally carrion, pikas remain the primary prey. Their abundance dictates the fox's reproductive rhythm. Scarce pikas mean no offspring that year. The Tibetan fox does not rely solely on sight and smell. Its ears are a surgical instrument, detecting even the faintest rustle of a pika underground, or the subtle disturbance of grass. Unlike other foxes that prioritize vision, this fox listens and smells first, seeing only when necessary. Running is rarely required. The landscape offers no cover for chase and no tunnels to exploit, making patience and precision the keys to survival. Everything depends on a precise first leap. If it fails, the prey escapes, and this clever predator does not pursue it, simply returns to its lookout. There is always the chance to approach other burrows, as it knows that rodents are confined to this area. This is how the Tibetan fox's journey unfolds. Far from being a string of failures, it is a repeated act of controlled perfection. It is not a dramatic hunter and does not need to be. Its strength lies in efficiency, consistency, and subtlety. When the sun sets and the wind sweeps across the plains, the fox withdraws, leaving no trace, marking nothing. The prey is gone, the scene erased, and only the certainty remains that in this open, harsh land, a hunter exists who cannot be seen but is always present. A body that neither roars nor rushes, a silhouette that blends in but whose face is unforgettable, shaped by patience and precision. Beyond the plains of the Tibetan fox, snow alone cannot explain this place. It is not just the cold. There is something that transforms those who inhabit it. The Himalayas are not merely mountains, they are forces that sculpt life. At these heights, animals do not simply survive. They transform. From the Tibetan plateau to the icy Karakoram ledges, bodies follow an unwritten law, where muscles, bones, and organs are shaped with a precision that elsewhere barely touches the surface. Faces are distinct because evolution here does more than adapt, it rewrites. Himalayan faces are unique, with narrowed eyes, expanded noses, and altered cheeks, each feature responding to function, not aesthetics. At over 4,000 meters, oxygen is limited, and as altitude rises, it decreases further. For species that have lived here for countless generations, this scarcity is a call to transform. Larger noses are not whimsical, they are chambers that warm the cold air before it reaches the lungs. Expanded sinuses trap every possible oxygen molecule. In some mammals, even facial bones are reshaped to provide internal space without enlarging the skull. Eyes narrow to guard against harsh light reflected by snow, giving the Tibetan fox and snow leopard their characteristic angular, shadowed gazes. Blood adapts, with high red cell concentration and hemoglobin that captures oxygen efficiently while resisting stress. Hearts grow larger to sustain pressure under conditions that would overwhelm others. Metabolism adapts as well, storing energy in hidden fat reserves that remain active most of the year, influencing both weight and behavior. Movements become deliberate and precise, conserving energy while remaining deadly. Anatomy becomes a map of necessity, and the Tibetan fox is an embodiment of these decisions. To survive like its northern relatives, it cannot rely on speed. It must stalk unseen, blending into bare terrain without cover. Its face, wide and flat with erect ears and slanted eyes, is not strange but perfectly adapted. Every feature responds to the need to see more without moving, hear more without alerting, and smell more without exposing itself. The snow leopard does not roar, it endures. Its tail, long as a whip, balances each leap and shields its face when resting in snow. They are not alone. The Himalayan ibex has a deep rib cage that allows it to leap without losing breath and flee uphill without collapsing. But the question arises, why here? Why the Himalayas and not other cold regions like the Arctic or Antarctica? Because in these mountains, cold is not the only challenge. Extreme altitude, brutal temperatures, daily swings of up to 30 low, air pressure, vertical terrain, and scarce food combine to create relentless evolutionary pressure. Elsewhere, adaptation targets heat, cold, or drought, but here, adaptation must be total. Polar bears, despite lower temperatures, resemble their relatives because they live at sea level where pressure and oxygen are stable. Jaguars and African leopards share traits because their environments do not demand radical change. In the Himalayas, species do more than survive. They are shaped by what the environment forces them to become. The Tibetan fox did not choose its form. The harsh plains sculpted it generation after generation. The snow leopard did not decide to be stealthy. The air, rock, and cold compelled it to adapt or vanish. Faces and bones rearrange themselves because here, where everything is uphill, the path is destiny and destiny is unforgiving. Yet not all highland creatures are graced with elegance or cunning. Some persist in obscurity, inhabiting minor corners of the story. Body is alien, clumsy, or incomplete. Among them is the palace cat, a true anomaly. Its disproportionate face seems foreign to it, ears drooping as if hiding, eyes enormous and fixed with unsettling strangeness, jaws tense in a permanent grimace, neither sweet nor fierce but strangely bored. Its skull is unlike any feline's, wider than long with flattened zygomatic arches and a smaller brain volume. Legs so short that its belly drags prevent effective jumping or running. Pallas's cat appears designed not to stand out. In any other ecosystem it would be easy prey, yet here it survives, inhabiting frozen steppes and rocky Mongolian and Himalayan terrain. It hides among rocks, beneath dry bushes, in deep crevices where sunlight barely reaches. Its day begins late, preferring dull hours, never seeking to be seen or challenged, and it hunts only what its body allows. Unable to pursue larger prey, nor is its compact body remarkable. It is neither a swift hunter nor a tireless pursuer. Yet despite these anatomical limitations, its fur is a masterpiece of climatic adaptation. The densest coat of any feline on Earth, exceeding 7 centimeters in winter with up to 9,000 hairs per square centimeter in some areas. This dense coat shelters it from the wind, muffles its movements, and renders it nearly invisible against rocky terrain. But this advantage carries a cost. The heat retained is slow to dissipate. In summer, it must retreat to shade or underground cavities, as its own body can become an enemy. Still, instinct drives it to try. Crouched among stones, half in shadow, its tense body and motionless ears maintain absolute silence. A few meters away, a rodent emerges. The Pallas cat's gaze narrows. No sound, no movement, every calculation precise. It crawls with deliberate awkwardness. A stone shifts under its paw, a barely audible click that alerts the prey. In an instant, the rodent vanishes. The cat does not chase. Any effort would waste energy it cannot spare. It remains still, head lowered, weighed not by failure but by inevitability. That night it may go without food, perhaps even the next day. At these altitudes, a single bad day can determine survival. Yet the sun still shines, and prey remains abundant. It tries again. The wind shifts. The rodent grows, confident. The leap is short, clumsy, but lethal. One prey, however, is insufficient. An adult needs at least 5 a day to survive. Hunting is constant, prey scarce, attrition high. In a world where other predators claim tens of kilos per kill, it survives on mere calories. Its existence is a study in minutiae, margins, and the struggle between instinct and limitation, a silent tragedy. If the Pallas cat dreams of grandeur, if it longs for a life beyond hunting rodents, it must confront a destiny its body cannot follow. The mountains shaped it, but not to dominate, only to persist. In an environment that exalts the adaptable, it barely survives, and yet it endures. At night, it does not roar or howl. It hides, wrapped in the planet's thickest fur. It knows it cannot command these heights, but as long as it breathes it refuses to yield. Elsewhere in these mountains, fragility has no place. Some creatures do not hide or wait. They assert themselves through sheer mass, strength, and presence. They are not secretive, nor must they be. They are neither bull, nor goat, nor deer, they simply are. Yet it carries something of all of them. From afar, its figure is striking. A massive body cloaked in golden fur that glows even through the dense Himalayan mist. It moves with the calm certainty of one without fear. Its gaze is deep, steady, and disquieting, not intentionally threatening, but inherently imposing, as if it were a relic of a wilder, older world. The golden token roams the misty slopes of the eastern Himalayas, navigating cloud forests, fog-laden gorges, and steep moss-covered inclines. Despite weighing over 300 kilos, it climbs paths even leopards avoid. The day begins with a search for food, led by experienced females, as the herd moves slowly, pausing at bushes, ferns, and bark. Its diet is continuous, necessary to sustain its enormous body, and its digestive system can process tough fibers discarded by other herbivores. But the takin's most remarkable feature is its monumental hanging nose, not a flaw, but an adaptation perfectly designed to warm frigid air before it reaches the lungs, ensuring survival at altitudes where breathing is difficult. Its creamy, golden coat, streaked with ochre, is coated with an oily secretion that repels water, keeping it dry even in relentless rain. Every aspect of its body balances strength and stability. It was built to stand, not to run. Its defense is its mass, posture, and poise, standing firm, chest out, gaze unwavering, enough to deter most challengers. While snow leopards occasionally target young adults, are formidable and costly to attack. During warmer months, herds of up to 40 form, gaining safety in numbers, conserving heat, and teaching the young through observation. Life alone for such a giant is too risky. Cooperation is survival. Yet as winter approaches, harmony fractures. Herds disperse, descending to less exposed areas where food is scarce but accessible. They shift altitude in rhythm with the mountains, rising when vegetation blooms, descending when ice seals the slopes. This rhythm dictates crucial moments. Young are born in late spring, 1 per litter, staying close to their mothers within the protective circle of the herd from the first day. The adult male golden toucan does not take part in breeding for most of the year, remaining solitary as he travels vast distances. Only during the mating season does he approach, competing with other males for the chance to reproduce. These clashes are brief and ritualized, two immense bodies with heads crashing in clouds of dust and steam, a display of strength and respect rather than an attempt to injure. Whoever yields steps aside without resentment, maintaining the balance essential for the herd. That same balance is reflected in the toucan's body. Short, muscular legs and broad, rough-edged hooves grip unstable ground. A compact, robust spine to support its massive weight, and its short, upward curving horns warn rather than kill. Predators rarely threaten it, and humans pursue it only. Its real enemy is isolation, a fragmentation of its habitat, human pressure, and the slow disappearance of the corridors that once connected herds. Yet it survives, increasingly alone, commanding silence simply by standing in the mud, its golden fur glowing impossibly, its monumental nose breathing in the cold air. In these mountains, where wind and stone shape every ridge, the golden toucan is a living monument to persistence, not for its speed or agility but for a radical loyalty to its land, climate, and form. It does not adapt to the world, it imposes itself upon it. As evening fog thickens and herds gather along the cliffs, their golden silhouettes move slowly across the mud, carrying a story still unfinished. Nearby, another marvel of the Himalayas moves along nearly vertical cliffs with equal authority, the Himalayan ibex. Its short yet disproportionately powerful legs support its heavy body on ridges so narrow they barely allow a hoof to rest. Split, rough hooves grip the rock like gloves, while its low center of gravity and perfectly distributed muscles allow it to turn, climb, and stop abruptly on impossible slopes. Its backward curving horns, each over a meter long and marked with rough rings, are both a record of age and a shock-absorbing system for the collisions of rival males. The ibex is strength embodied, yet there is something more in its gaze, a strange depth, a watchful intelligence, as if even in the harshest heights, evolution has found a way to create not just survival, but a living miracle. Their eyes are horizontal, slit-like, and this shape serves a remarkably precise purpose. It keeps the visual horizon steady even when the animal leans on steep terrain, allowing it to navigate without losing awareness of its surroundings and detect threats or escape routes without turning its head. Many mountain ungulates share this feature, but in the Himalayan ibex, it reaches an extraordinary level of adaptation. Another striking trait is the long goatee on its chin, which is more than decoration. It signals maturity, dominance, and hormonal state, with testosterone driving its growth and density influencing social recognition within the group. Few species push extreme adaptation as far as the Himalayan ibex, a herbivore forced by harsh terrain to evolve for precise jumps, perfect traction, and complete control of its environment. In another setting it might be ordinary, but here, it is a marvel of evolution. One cold morning, the sun barely touching the valley ridges, a snow leopard stalks from a high ledge, silent on its padded paws, and spots a group of ibex grazing among rocks, targets the youngest and most distracted, sliding down the slope and launching an attack. Yet the group reacts in time. The dominant male intervenes without hesitation, not seeking a fight but asserting authority, leaping with coordinated hind legs and climbing a vertical wall with exact, calculated movements. The leopard does not follow, watching the ibex vanish into the mountain, its body shaped not for open plains or open combat, but to merge with the landscape where no one can pursue. Unlike other large herbivores, the ibex does not rely on plains or migrations, moving instead with the terrain's rhythm, descending in warm months for richer vegetation and ascending in winter for sunlight. Groups consist of females, young, and a few males, while stronger adults often separate into male-only groups, with hierarchy maintained through postures, snorts, and measured displays of force. Daily, the ibex grazes on sparse vegetation, lichens, tough grasses, and crevice shoots, with teeth and digestive systems optimized for low-energy foods. Yet its most remarkable trait is its silence, its way of inhabiting harsh environments without challenging them, blending with the mountain instead, defying it. In a world where many species evolve to dominate, the Himalayan ibex achieves perfect balance with its surroundings, camouflage without surrender, strength without noise, and day by day, it etches its presence in stone, belonging more to the Himalayas than to the earth, where even the wolf seems altered, not bigger, faster, or stronger. The Himalayan wolf is something entirely different. It does not compete with its North American, European, or other Asian relatives. It lacks their grandeur and massive jaws, yet possesses something far rarer. A body stripped of all excess, it has transformed itself through resilience and adaptation. At high altitudes where oxygen is thin, the wolf's body is designed to perform without wasting energy. Its lighter frame, slender legs, and refined snout reduce mass that could drain its strength. Muscles are compact and efficient, conserving energy in a world where every breath is precious. Its fur, though thinner than a leopard's, provides protection without unnecessary expenditure. Every feature is the product of evolution honed to remove excess. Its gaze is wary, devoid of nobility or docility. It inhabits harsh lands, forced into smaller packs, not by temperament, but by necessity, as food is scarce. And yet it hunts, kills, and survives. Its movement lacks the dramatic power of Canadian or Alaskan cousins. There is no spectacle, only persistence, calculation, and energy conservation. Its territory is vast yet fragmented, requiring navigation across frozen slopes and fleeting mountain passes. At brutal altitudes where few large mammals dare settle, the Tibetan wolf claims its space. When prey appears unguarded, it stalks, surrounds, and strikes at night or dawn, using surprise as its weapon. Unlike other wolves that exhaust prey in long chases, it attacks swiftly and precisely, where failure risks hunger or injury. Scarce opportunities mean that hunger defines it, revealing a creature shaped by severity and environment, present despite hardship. There is a quiet violence in it, a brutal efficiency without spectacle. One moonless night, 3 wolves crawl through snow, silent shadows, approaching a wild goat and its sleeping young. There is no error allowed. Failure means emptiness and danger, but the hunt succeeds, clean and efficient, leaving no celebration. Only sustenance and the faint pulse of life in their jaws. The night belongs to them. Unlike leopards or golden eagles, this predator amazes not through spectacle but through endurance, its greatest accomplishment in heights where only those who waste nothing survive. In the same altitudes, where clouds thin and light sharpens between rocks, and wind cuts like glass, a delicate life persists. A black and white flash glides over the abyss, navigating Himalayan winds. It is neither bird nor drifting snow, 'tis a butterfly, Parnosius epirus, a high-altitude species surviving extreme cold and wind. Inhabits areas above 3,500 meters where summers barely last a generation. Yet it endures, shaped and perfected by the harsh environment. Unlike any of its kind, this butterfly has a compact body covered with scales patterned in creamy white, black and red, which also serve as thermal insulation. Its wings, seemingly delicate, are reinforced with thicker textures than other butterflies, a specific adaptation to resist the harsh gusts that could tear a weaker species from the air. Yet its form is not merely about endurance, it embodies grace under pressure. Its flight is low, precise, and purposeful, gliding out of necessity rather than leisure. At these altitudes, every wing beat matters, and each trip from flower to flower is a calculated expenditure of energy. Even its wing colors serve a functional purpose. Light areas reflect intense solar radiation, while dark edges absorb heat during the fleeting moments of sunlight, turning the wings into a primitive thermal regulator that allows it to remain active when many creatures would succumb to the cold. Its life cycle mirrors the extremes of its environment. Females lay eggs on specific corydalous plants found only in narrow altitude and orientation niches. Larvae grow slowly with cold-adapted metabolisms, pausing development in harsh conditions. To survive, some pupate through the entire winter underground, emerging only when ice retreats and the valleys briefly warm. In those few days of adult life, the butterfly dances among stones and abysses, flying low to read the invisible currents between rocks, sometimes resting on warm stones, always moving with careful precision to conserve energy and avoid being swept away. Its large compound eyes, adapted for sharp vision in intense sunlight, guide it through these brief, bright days. When a marmot makes a sudden, clumsy attempt to capture it, the butterfly barely reacts, slipping among the stones with perfect indifference. The marmot watches with annoyance, understanding it was not prey. Unlike the great hunters of the mountains, Himalayan marmots live not to dominate but to survive. They exist on the knife edge of life, forming colonies that function with exacting precision, burrowing into complex underground tunnels up to 10 meters long and 2 meters deep, huddling in chambers to share heat, slow their heartbeats and reduce metabolism to the bare minimum to evade death. Hibernation for them is not merely rest but a physiological feat, orchestrated by genes refined over thousands of generations, regulating cell survival, regeneration, and energy efficiency, in a finely tuned adaptation to the extremes of the high Himalayas. All this in an animal that can weigh just a few pounds. When lethargy ends, nothing is guaranteed but light returns. Ice gives way, the sun reappears, and with it the possibility of starting over. During the warmer months, their lives become a sprint toward fat. Every outing is a calculated risk. Eagles watch from above, Tibetan foxes from the crevices. Sometimes even a snow leopard prowls the same valleys. Unlike other small, clumsy, or solitary rodents, which fall easily prey to predators, the marmot is elusive, meticulous, and efficient. Its eyes detect movement from afar, its ears pick up the slightest rustle, and above all, it relies on the strength of its colony. Within every community, there are watchful sentinels. When one whistles, everyone freezes. If the danger persists, a second, sharper whistle signals a coordinated retreat. They do not scatter randomly, they run to their own burrows, knowing exactly where to vanish. Fear does not define them. Memory, strategy, and efficiency do. A marmot must gain enough weight to survive more than 6 months without moving or eating, storing between 4 and 6 kilos of fat. To achieve this, it consumes hundreds of high-energy plants. Choosing with precision, there is no time for mistakes. Its thick fur, with a dense undercoat, preserves heat even when temperatures plunge below -20 degrees Celsius. Its teeth never stop growing, but its jaws are strong enough to gnaw through roots, fibrous stems, and even bark when resources run low. Social yet disciplined, each colony functions through an implicit order. There are no strict hierarchies, but roles exist. Some guard, others dig, mothers care for the young. Males often become solitary outside the mating season. Every individual understands the group is survival itself. Cooperation is life. Without it, no one endures. And yet, despite their intelligence, marmots remain, in many eyes, merely prey, hissing, trembling, hiding, hunted. But survival here is no act of victimhood. It is proof that intelligence takes many forms, that heroism can exist without fangs, and that the heart of a prey can beat with the same force as a hunter's. As the sun sets behind the mountains, the marmot that failed to catch the butterfly returns to its burrow. She has eaten enough. Her reserves are nearly complete. Winter approaches, and she is ready. Above these merciless heights, where life contracts into precise muscles and death follows method, a winged shadow rules the sky. The peregrine falcon needs no announcement. Its flight is not for display. It is war. Its body, sculpted by evolution, exists to execute a single deadly idea: to kill. From its streamlined skull and compact musculature to the curved design of its wings, every aspect is optimized for a dive that can exceed 300 kilometers per hour. Yet the most remarkable feature is its gaze. Completely black pupils act as shadow funnels, absorbing light without losing sharpness. Mid-dive at those speeds, any flash of light could prove fatal. Those piercing eyes allow him to perceive the world with uninterrupted clarity, an optical precision that seems impossible. From 1,500 meters away, he can spot prey as small as a sparrow, anticipate its movements with a mind attuned to shifting geometry, and dive with unrelenting accuracy. His hunt begins in the air. He soars high, indifferent to the valley's noise, alert to the slightest flutter among the bushes or rocks below. He notices a small bird moving through scattered foliage. From above, there is neither sound nor warning. The falcon pulls back and plunges. Its descent is pure, concentrated violence. Instead of striking from above, it sweeps under and behind its target, releasing all kinetic energy in a single, shattering impact. The blow does not kill immediately. It incapacitates, and then the unforgiving begins. He does not devour the prey at once. On a cold rock, he clamps it with one claw and smashes its head against the ground with the other. The bird, alive and breathing, trembles under the force. One wing is torn, then the other. He plucks carefully, not from cruelty but strategy, keeping the prey alive for his young who will arrive soon, for fresh meat outweighs any carrion. The tiny body, now helpless, is only a shadow of its former self. No song, no flight, only soft silence broken by labored breaths. He will allow it to linger, so that when the sun sinks behind snowy peaks, he returns with both food and a lesson. Survival demands ruthless mastery over the surroundings. No other Himalayan creature blends beauty, flight, and savagery so brutally. The peregrine falcon is no mere bird. It is a living missile with a mind, a shadow appearing only too late, a perfect predator born at the edge of the abyss. While he rules the skies with lethal swiftness, another hunter moves with devastating calm. A snow leopard creeps forward, silent and unhurried. It does not run or roar, it simply climbs. Behind him, the world dissolves into cliffs and winds. Clouds ahead, a barely visible trail appears, unnoticed by all but him. He does not know its owner, nor its scent, yet he recognizes the rhythm of its steps, the faint pressure of claws in the snow, the subtle twist as if it danced while moving. These details are invisible to others, but he follows with the certainty of one who does not search, but knows. The mountain welcomes him without hesitation. His thick fur barely shields him from the icy blast. Each step a battle. Cold is not felt. It passes through him relentlessly. There is no respite here. Only those unwilling to surrender survive. The leopard persists, ascending. The traces grow clearer. Scratches on rocks, a faint scent trapped in frost. Wind scatters it but does not erase it. Every fragment speaks, and he listens, sensing that he is close, very close, yet he is not alone. Another male has caught the same scent, larger, stronger, younger. His markings are on the ice as well. A rival, by nature, not choice. Here, high above, only one can remain. There is no space for doubt, not even for two rivals. Their encounter is inevitable, a clash without honor or rules. There is no dance, no warning, only a sudden eruption of muscle, claws, and fangs, body against body, weight against stone. One fights to gain, the other to survive. They struggle at the edge of the abyss, the snow turning gray beneath them. Yet the younger yields, not from fear, but instinct, knowing that not every reward is worth a fracture. With a final grunt, he vanishes into the shadows. The victorious leopard does not celebrate. Triumph has not yet arrived, only exhaustion. His injured back labors with each breath, but he presses on, for the mountain has yet to demand all he can give. At the summit, the world unfolds like a secret, bathed in faint golden blue light, and there, among rock and frost, the female waits. She does not turn, nor call, yet she senses him, as he senses her. The wind carries the scent of fresh prey, the prize she too has fought for, but he looks past the meat, seeing only her. No growls, no dominance, only the gentle brushing of bodies, her tail entwined with his, long and heavy like a loose ribbon. They curl together, and in that simple, unchangeable gesture, the Himalayas grant a moment of respite. For one night, they are neither hunters nor shadows of ice. As snow falls, gradually erasing the traces they left, the pair rests a reminder that even here, high above the world, instinct seeks not just survival but endurance, stretching across towering mountains and valleys for more than 2,500 kilometers. From latitudes 26 to 37 north, the Himalayas host a mosaic of ecosystems. From dense, temperate forests to frozen tundras near glaciers, harboring life that defies expectation. In these heights, where air thins and cold penetrates the bone, dwell creatures like the snow leopard, with its piercing eyes and rudder-like tail, the Tibetan fox, cunning and finely tuned, the Pallas cat, small yet robust, the golden powerful and luminous in the high-altitude sun, and the Himalayan ibex, whose claws and horns tell stories of resilience and ancient strength. Each is a testament to life's ability to reinvent itself, to endure an environment where only the essential survives and where elegance and strength are forged under relentless pressure. The Himalayas are not merely a location on a map, they are a monument to resilience, a sanctuary where evolution has crafted unique forms and behaviors. Here life survives, transforms, and expresses itself in its most extreme, unyielding form. Though this journey through its peaks and inhabitants concludes, the Himalayas remain an open mystery, a relentless challenge where life finds ways to endure and astonish.